something about him. I feel like...
Sid, I was wondering if you could help me.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Curse Breakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability. I was hoping you could oversee this one's evaluation.
I don't mind, but why this one?
Because he wants to be a scout. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is why we still rely so heavily on Gav. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those who'd fill his boots.
Sounds reasonable.
So you're happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many scouts.
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the initiate know that you'll be attending his trial, and that he is to proceed directly to Northreach in readiness.
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer.
Twinside's hundreds of leagues away. That'd mean the...
All right, Clive. Blackthorn told me you helped him out again. Tough for that. Speaking of which, I'm actually a bit,
Worried about him. And you want my advice?
afraid so. It's a bit of a funny one, this, but I saved this posh knob while I was out on a mission, and he gave me this flashy ring to say thank you. So, obviously, I show it to Blackthorn, thinking he'll be impressed, only for him to go white as a sheet and quiet as a curl instead. Try as I might, I can't for the life of me work out what could have got him upset like that. And seeing as how Blackthorn opens up when you're around, I thought maybe...
I'd speak to him again. Well, I suppose there's no point leaving him to stew.
Cheers, Clive.
I'll be sure to pay him a visit as soon as I have a moment.
All right, I'll meet you by the forge then. You come along when you're ready.
Bloody hell, Clive. Not this again. Oh, ain't you got better things to do with your time?
That remains to be seen. August tells me he showed you a ring, and that the sight of it clearly upset you. Would you mind telling us why?
Come on, mate. Bottling it up ain't gonna help no one. If it weren't the ring, and it was something I said, then I'm sorry.
It was the ring, right? It brought back some unhappy memories, that's all. Memories better left forgotten.
Memories of what?
There are things we'd all rather leave behind, Blackthorn. But sometimes it helps to talk about them.
And sometimes it doesn't. Is that so hard to understand?
Don't be like that.
Fine. If it'll get you off my back. That ring you flashed was the work of Zoltan. We apprenticed together, back in the day.
You've never mentioned him before.
Why would I? Ain't seen him in decades, and the last time I did, we almost came to blows. The ring brought it all back. I could tell it was one of his the moment I saw it. Bastard's improved, though. More than I thought possible. That thing's a work of art.
So it was a nice ring. Worth a few gil, maybe. What's it matter to you?
It matters, because engraving metal's a nightmare, and I've got no bloody idea how he managed it. The fact is, I couldn't make anything even half that detailed.
So what? You're an armorer, not a jeweler.
I'm the Hideaway's master craftsman. I'm not stealing a living at some backwater village forge. My armor keeps you lot safe, and my swords keep you dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, every swing of my hammer's another blow struck in the name of our cause. So I put my heart and soul into my work. Because the curse breakers deserve better than second best. And I refuse to be shown up by the likes of Sultan.
Very well. Why don't we go and pay him a visit? Learn his secret.
I doubt he'd be too happy to see me.
Then just this once. Make peace with being second best. Swallow your pride, and focus all your energies on the task at hand. Keeping the curse breakers armed and armored. Provided you can do that, you'll hear no complaints from me. But if you can't, and it's going to distract you, we need to do something about it.
What'd you say, Blackthorn? You know he's right. And it's not like you'll be going alone.
All right.
Magic. So, where do you reckon old what's-his-name is then? Zoltan, was it?
In Dravozd, my old village. He won't have left. He's the chief.
Dravozd, eh? That rings a bell. Not far from Tabor, right? Just north of the fields of Carava. Got that, Clive? Meet us at Dravozd as soon as you can, yeah? And I'll make sure Blackthorn don't get cold feet.
Good luck with that. I'll see you there. Nazaire might at least have mentioned where in Northreach he'd be testing this recruit.
I'm nervous. Is it alright to be nervous?
I don't care either way, so long as you do as I tell you. Well met, Sid. This is the initiate. Ember, present yourself.
At your service, Master.
Please, just Sid. There are no masters here. Your life is your own.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Sid. The sergeant says you'll be evaluating me at my trial.
To become a scout, yes. You are aware of the dangers inherent in that role.
I am. But I swore I'd face them. Just like the man who saved my life.
And who would that be?
Gav. It was him who found me and freed me. No magic, no support, just one man and his nose. Came and sniffed me out. It taught me what one man can do if he puts his mind to it. And I've been training ever since, so that one day I can be someone's saviour, just like Gav was mine.
I'm sure he'd be flattered. You clearly have good intentions, Ember. And it sounds like you're under no illusions. Stick to this path and you'll make a fine cursebreaker.
So, what? Have I passed?
You haven't even started yet. Now listen. Not far from here is an Imperial lookout, Eastwatch. The guards there record all their sightings in a logbook. You are to find it and bring it here.
And bring it here, right. Anything else?
No. Sneaking into a heavily guarded Imperial outpost and stealing the logbook would be quite sufficient. You'll need to assess the situation, determine a point of entry, create a distraction and effect an escape, all without being discovered and thrown into an Imperial oubliette.
Ember, Gav isn't our best scout because he can do everything. It's essential that you know your limits.
Know my limits, right. I won't let you down.
It shouldn't be as dangerous as I made out. But keep a weather eye on him all the same, would you?
On my way. All right, Ember. Impress me. These are clean kills. Perhaps young Ember really is ready. Or maybe not. Damn it. Ember, draw your sword!
I can't!
Then run! If you want him, you'll have to go through me. Too slow. Ember, are you... Gone. Of course. Scouts really are a rare breed. Back to Northreach it is then. Thanks, Gal.
I didn't expect you back so soon. Where is Ember? How did he fare?
I thought I'd find him with you. He must have fled. I followed him to Eastwatch, where I found him being set upon by a wild Avis. He was just standing there. Didn't even draw his sword. I had to step in and take care of things. But by the time I had, he was nowhere to be seen. I assumed he'd set off in your direction, but apparently not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sid. I knew the boy had a nervous streak, but he seemed like...
The right man for the job? I believe this is the logbook you tasked me with retrieving.
Eh? How did you... Don't you tell me you breached the tower while Sid was busy saving your skin.
What? Wasn't that what you asked me to do? To bring the thing back without getting caught?
He has you there, Nazaire. And he did it all on his own.
But Sid, he
did what he thought was best. And now I have to decide whether I agree.
Of course. We'll await your evaluation back at the hideaway. Don't you leave my sight.
Yes, Sergeant.
This won't be an easy decision.
Opportunity beckons. Who among you is bold enough to heal?
Good girl. Come on. You deserve a rest. Kicked out already?
No. This charmer ain't letting anyone through.
Why are the gates closed?
Chief's orders. No one's allowed in without his say-so. Not that I'd have let you in anyway. You look like trouble. I suggest you go home.
That's what I'm trying to do, you little prick. Ain't changed a bit, have you, Snotty?
No. It isn't. Blackthorn.
Long time no see, eh?
What the hell are you doing here?
Well, it was meant to be a surprise, but since you are so nicely... I'm here to see Zoltan, you fucking numbskull. Now let us through.
All right. Just don't go starting anything with the chief.
Yeah, I promise I won't throw the first punch. That good enough for you?
Go on then.
Much obliged.
So this is Dravozd. Not much going on, is there?
It's a smithing town. When I was a lad, you'd have to shout to be heard over the sound of hammer on anvil. Clive, you're good with people. You speak to Zoltan.
Hey, you ain't backing out now, are you?
There's a river of bad blood between me and the chief. But if someone can build me a bridge, then I'll cross it.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate it. He'll be near the forge on the hill. It was our master's. He'd have inherited it when I left.
The forge on the hill.
Good luck. You'll be needing it.
But if we can't find the forges, how are we going to earn our keep?
Shut your hole. The chief will think of something.
Mama, why hasn't Papa...
Hotter! Hotter, damn it! Those miserable flames wouldn't melt butter, let alone iron.
Pardon the intrusion. I'm looking for the chief.
That'd be me.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Is. Keep the gates closed, I tell him. Well done, Snotty. You're not welcome here. Get out. Before things turn nasty.
Blackthorn's here.
What did you say?
He's traveled a long way to see you.
Yes, has he?
He's waiting. Down by the gates.
Then I suggest you take him with you when you leave.
Didn't you apprentice together?
So what if we did? Fuck! We're getting nowhere! These bearers' flames are next to bloody useless!
We're never going to be able to fire up the forges unless we can find some new crystals.
I'm a busy man, as you can see, so do me a favor and piss off. Oh, and if you're struggling to find your way out, ask Blackthorn. That prick knows exactly where the exit is. He's not wanted here. And neither are you.
All right. I'm going.
Please, Chief, you've got to do something. If this keeps up, we'll be ruined.
It's no use. The flames just aren't hot enough.
I suppose we could try working copper instead.
Clear.
If we have
Piss
it all.
off.
Mama, why hasn't Papa come back?
But if we can't fire the forges, how are we going to earn our keep?
Shut your hole. The chief.
Let me guess. Zoltan told you to piss off.
As a personal favor to him, yes.
Well, at least he didn't beat about the bush.
There'll be no talking him round. Not after what I did.
Which is what exactly? If we're to help, we need to know. What turned the village against you?
I left. Dravojd, Zoltan. The burden of leadership our dying master dropped in our laps. All of it. There are two kinds of smiths in this world, you see. My kind, who are in it for the love of the craft, who labour on a single piece from dawn to dusk to get it just right. And the other kind, who are in it for different reasons. People like Zoltan, whose work is quick and cheap. The kind of smiths who shit out a few hundred blades, reap the profit, and divvy it out among themselves. There wasn't a single day we weren't at each other's throats. And bit by bit, people started taking sides. You would have torn Dravojd in half had it gone on. So, I left.
You didn't have to do that.
Zoltan's a better chief than I would have been. His way of doing things kept food on people's tables. Dravojd prospered without me and my lofty ideals getting in the road. Until the crystals run out at any rate. Without magic to fire the furnaces, this place is as good as dead.
It depends on how you look at it, though. There's got to be other ways of making fire. We manage it in the Deadlands.
Thanks to Sid's ingenuity, yeah. He saw all of this coming. Knew crystals were the problem, not the solution. And spent years coming up with ways of doing without.
You know what I mean, though, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. What I'm trying to say is that it's not your fault. You couldn't have predicted this.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. I don't want to be the greatest smith alive just because I happen to be the last. Clive. Dravojd won't last long without its furnaces. So, do you think it's time we shared Sid's bellows with the world? The way I see it, it's your decision to make.
Hold on, Blackthorn. Sid made those things for us. They give us an edge over the rest. And you'd be throwing it away.
All right. Do it. This place was your home. I won't abandon it to its fate. Sid's creations were never meant to be hoarded. It was only ever a matter of time before we shared them. Let this be another step on the road to freeing Valisthea from the prison of the Crystal's blessing. Dravojd will show the world that it's possible. Wouldn't you agree, August?
When you put it that way, of course. It's like hearing Sid speak from beyond the grave.
Thank you, Clive.
Shall I go and fetch the plans, then?
I know I'm off by heart. I'll be needing some help, though. Building a furnace isn't exactly a one-man job. Do us a favour and round up anyone strong enough to lug a brick or two, would you, August?
All right, then.
And I've got a job for you too, Clive. Finding me some salamander skin. I need leather for the bellows and nothing else will withstand the heat. Luckily for us, salamanders feed out in the fields of Karava.
Time for a spot of hunting, then.
Ready, go? Faster!
Straight home now. Let's make this quick, shall we? No mistakes. It's over. I dare say that would be enough for a decent set of bellows. Let's go. Safe. Come on.
faster!
No need to ride from here.
What's this all about then?
Dunno. Some kind of new invention.
Good news, Clive. When I told people we'd be building them a new furnace, they were practically falling over themselves to help. Talk about changing their tune, eh?
Any trouble finding the skin?
Nothing I couldn't handle.
This should be plenty. Right then, time to put these louds to work. If everyone pulls their weight, we'll be finished in no time.
Well, I'll be damned. I honestly didn't think it'd work. But it's hot enough, all right. And without a single crystal in sight.
You know what this means, don't you?
I do, yeah. Dravost is saved.
Sorry about earlier. I take back everything I said. That thing you built us is an honest-to-God's marvel. You saved our village.
It's Blackthorn you should be thanking. He oversaw the construction.
Give this to him, would you?
What is it?
Pet Cole's cinders. After he left, I spent years trying to eke the most out of our forges. That there was my answer. Chuck it in the fire, and your forge will burn hotter for longer, which will do wonders for your steel. Our secret for yours. Only fair. I've always envied Blackthorn. Since the day I became chief, I spent every spare moment trying to match up to the bastard. No amount of sleepless nights at the Anvil will ever bridge that gap, though. He's a genius. Plain and simple. The man Dravost needed. But he took all his talent and left. Gifted and free. Is it any wonder I hate his guts?
The cinders would mean more coming from you.
I need to forgive him first. And that's not gonna happen.
Well, you know what they say. Oriflamme weren't built in a day and all that. These things take time. Especially when they involve two geezers who hold grudges tighter than their hammers. But what matters is, Blackthorn's got that twinkle back in his eye. And I'd call that a job well done.
So would I.
I reckon he's going to be at it a while yet, though, so why don't you head off without us? I'll see that the old git gets home safe and sound.
See that you both do. I'll save the cinders till then.
All right. It'll be a nice little surprise for him.
Yeah, that's not Blackthorn, is it? Never thought I'd see his face in Dravost again. Come on. Fly, Ambrosia. Thanks, Gal. Let's go. Well, it's certainly quiet. If I were Giant Antelope, it would seem like just the place. I doubt we'll find one bigger than that. Hungry, Torgal?
Soil and stone!
Now, will it be enough, I wonder? I say that answers my question, which means we owe the lawsmen our thanks. Oh, just a big puppy, aren't you? A very big puppy. You do know you can take that with you, Torgal. Lady Karen will be relieved to hear you've got your appetite back. Come on, boy.
I noticed you and Torgal had gone off somewhere. Take him for a walk, did you?
You could say that.
So, Molly's leftovers weren't good enough, eh? That'll teach me for treating you like you're still a pup. All right, no need to shout. Now we know what you're after, I can see about getting some in.
Speaking of which, I brought one for later. Can I leave it with you?
You can, aye. I'm nice like that. In return, you can thank Tomes for me. The bloody know-it-all.
I was just on my way to see him.
Ah, Clive. Were you able to locate your quarry?
We were indeed, Lawsman. You pointed us in exactly the right direction. And Torgal's been a very happy hound ever since.
Very good, very good.
Lady Karen sends her thanks, by the way, for your part in solving the mystery.
Ah. But that reminds me. After your last visit, I found myself pondering Torgal's talents. Do you recall our conversation concerning Lady Jill's role in Torgal's transformation?
About how she somehow woke the power within him.
Precisely that. A reasonable conclusion, I thought. But one which raised certain questions in my mind. You see, the Fenrir of legend served Shiva and Shiva alone. And while the powers attributed to him are certainly impressive, the records imply they are somewhat different in nature to those you described Torgal as having used.
What are you suggesting?
That Torgal may be the beneficiary of more than one icon's power. Consider that in addition to Lady Jill, he has served as a loyal companion to you, your brother, and even the late Cid. In short, the icons hitherto near at hand, or should I say at paw, have been diverse and plenty, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I am not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate indeed to be able to count him amongst our allies and not our adversaries.
Oh, he's more than an ally. He's a friend.
Good morrow to you, my friend. I have compiled some new entries, if you would like to see them. There is a rather fascinating excerpt I've been meaning to show you. If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it.
Sid, perhaps you can help me solve a mystery.
I can certainly try. Who's gone missing this time?
It's not who, but what. Mid's scales, the ones she made for her workshop. I borrowed them to teach the little ones about weight, and shortly after...
Perhaps a visit from Sid will jog their memories.
I think it just might. Thank you. I don't like to imagine that my pupils would lie to me. But if they have, I'll have no choice but to discipline them accordingly. They were in the atrium when I last saw them. As always.
There's something about it.
You should have seen him. The thing didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, neither did you, I hear. Welcome back, Sid.
Welcome back, Sid.
Yes. Welcome back. Trip wasn't too much of a pain in the arse, I hope. Truth be told, it was me who suggested roping you in to help with the trial. But from what I hear, things didn't go quite as planned.
No, they most certainly did not. Ember lost his nerve in the face of a beast of prey, but he didn't lose heart. He pressed on, and he achieved his aim. And is that not what we ask of our scouts?
Indeed it is. Thank you for your honest appraisal, Sid. The fact remains, however, that Ember will not always have a battle-hardened warrior on hand to pluck him from the jaws of peril. All I have gleaned from this trial is that without someone watching his back, Ember is little more than a liability.
Wait, Sergeant. Ember still has much to learn, it's true. And this time he was found wanting. But I'd say he's due a second chance, nonetheless. After all, he did do as you asked.
With a bit of hard work, any hand can be made to hold a blade, and any mind can conquer its fears. But a scout's nose is different. You've either got one, or you ain't. And by sniffing out that log, young Ember here has shown he has a conch and a half. Wouldn't do to waste it now, would it?
Fine. One more chance.
I'll do whatever you ask. I'll spend my days and nights in the pit if I have to. I'll show you. Just you wait.
Daft as a brush, that one. But his heart's in the right place. Just like someone else we know. And if you ask me, we've been leaning on him for far too long. About time the curse breakers took some of the weight off his shoulders, I reckon.
It couldn't hurt.
Just don't tell Gav I said so, will you? I won't have him thinking he's been hard done by. Next thing you know, he'll be asking for a day off. Chance would be a fine thing. Back to work.
Forgive me, Sid. This did not play out as I expected.
Things rarely do these days. But that's why we need men like Ember more than ever. Men who can make the best out of a bad situation. Remember that.
I will, Sid. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I see you both made it home in one piece.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to outstay our welcome. The whole village turned out for a go on the bellows after you left. Everyone except Zoltan has. Didn't see hide nor hair of him.
Oh, but that reminds me. I have something for you.
Pit Gold Cinder? How'd you come by this? And you're sure he wanted me to have it?
I'm sure. He didn't say so, but I think he wants to forgive you.
Huh. Imagine that. Yeah. You know I could never leave this place, don't you? Every time you put on mail, you and the Cursebreakers are trusting me with your lives. There's no greater honor for a smith than that. I'm not about to go crawling back to Zoltan for forgiveness, but I will make good use of his cinder. Help save even a single life. Then he'll have my gratitude. Look, I better get to work. I've got a reputation to uphold.
It's good to see you back on form, Blackthorn.
I don't know how you pair put up with me sometimes, but I'm grateful all the same. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, about to put Zoltan back in his place.
Ain't got the art to tell him how similar they are. Stubborn bastards.
A little healthy competition should be good for him.
You're not wrong. Still, it's a shame him and Zoltan couldn't let bygones be bygones. No use grumbling about it now, though. Blackthorn's happy. Or as near to happy as he gets. And that's good enough for me.
What do you want? And?
Say what you will. Lady Karen's...
What do you reckon we should do? I say we should just tell Miss Shirley.
You'll get us all straight. I'm telling you, I can fix them. Sid!
Hard at your studies, I see. And what is that? It's not a set of scales, is it?
No. Of course it isn't.
Well, not anymore, it's not. Oh!
And just how long hasn't it been one?
We're sorry.
But we didn't break them. We dismembered them.
Just like Miss Mididol showed us.
Miss Mididol? And why would she have you dismembering her creations?
Because that's the only way to become a ninja-neer.
Miss Mididol said, the best way to see how something worked is to take it apart and put it back together again.
Well then, your work is already half done. Carry on.
About that.
The taking apart was easy enough, but it's the putting back we can't work out.
Speak for yourself. The heavy thing goes at the bottom. Then...
You three need to learn to take responsibility for your actions. So let's have a look at these parts with fresh eyes, shall we? All right. Everything here was once part of Miss Midadol's scales. Every piece has its own role to play, and each is just as important as the others. If even one of them is missing, the scales won't work. So let's think about what those roles might be. You already know one of the pieces, the body. Its role is to support everything else. But what of the others? This is called the arm. Why do you suppose that is? It doesn't look much like an arm.
You're right. It looks more like a wing. Like a chocobo wing!
You've ridden a chocobo before, haven't you, Sid? Will you teach me to ride one day?
I'll think about it. Now, what do arms do?
Hold things. So wait, maybe this arm holds things too?
Good thinking. You're on the right track. These round parts are called the pans. You all know what a pan is, don't you?
I do. Molly uses them in the kitchens to fry bangers. But these aren't for frying bangers, you idiot. They're for weighing stuff. But what if I wanted to weigh Goots? I don't think he'd fit on that little thing.
Probably not.
What are the chains for? Holding the pans up?
Well spotted. Which means something must hold the chains up in turn. This tiny piece is what's called a cogwheel, or gear. Have you ever seen one before?
I have. Miss Midadol's dungeon is full of them. Most are on the floor.
She puts them in all her inventions. They spin round and round and round and round and...
That's right. They're very useful when you want to make things move. Do you remember if there was anything on the scales that moved?
I remember the arm moved when I tried weighing an apple. And then somebody ate it.
It's not my fault. You shouldn't have tried weighing it before lunch.
We know what part's supposed to move and how it's supposed to move. So, let's put the pieces together first, see what doesn't move, and then stick the cogwheel to that.
Not a bad idea. You see? It's not so difficult. So, now that we've taken stock of the parts and learned what they do, what do you think?
I think we've got it.
Then here's what we'll do. You tell me what goes where, and I'll put the scales together.
Well, obviously you need to start with the body. All the other pieces fit onto it, don't they?
And the arms go on the body, just like real arms. Or wings, if you're a chocobo. And then the arms hold the pans by the chains.
Very good. Let's see if that works. There. All finished.
Yes! We did it!
Well, with Sid's help.
Oh, I just put the pieces together. It was you three engineers who showed me how.
That's right. We're Miss Midadol's hares.
Her hares?
Yeah, hares for the future. She's showing us her secrets now, so we can help out the hideaway when we're older.
What do you think, Sid? Are we almost ready?
With a little more help from Miss Midadol and Miss Shirley, I'd say it won't be long at all.
You hear that? It won't be long.
Until then, though, do try to be honest with Miss Shirley.
Hey, look! We never used the cogwheel.
You don't think Sid forgot about it, do you? Didn't happen to forget anything, did you, Sid? Didn't happen to forget anything, did you, Sid?
Well, did you solve the mystery?
It was as you thought. The children had the scales, or the parts of them at least. They dismantled them to see how they worked.
Oh, no, Mid will have my head.
Thankfully she won't. This might even have been her idea. Although I was the one who ended up teaching the lesson.
I'm so sorry, Sid. I know how busy you are. I shall see that the children are properly punished.
Please, there's no need. Mid seems to have taken the three of them under her wing. She's even calling them her heirs. She'd have them follow in her footsteps. And her father's.
I see. Sid, do you know why Mid has been spending so much time at the hideaway of late?
She told me it was because her studies have been interrupted by events in Canva. Is that not true?
No, it isn't. The university offered her a commission. In exchange for full tuition, room and board, they asked her to oversee the design of several new war engines. To anyone else it would be an opportunity, but to Mid, who lost both her parents to war, it was a bitter pill. One she was none too keen to swallow. But that should come as no surprise. She's only ever cared about bringing people hope. The very last thing war can be said to do.
Which explains her heirs. She's working to give them a better life. And so should I. What's the odd engineering lesson?
Ah, you've given them far more than that. And I'm sure they're very grateful.
Oh, that blasted book.
Here, you put me in this situation, Clive. You can bloody well get me out of it. I need a hand with a recipe.
Are you sure it's me you're looking for? I'm not much of a cook.
I'm all the cook will be needing, thank you very much. What I want from you is a little of your time, right? Oh, and perhaps your sword. You remember Ivan's stew, right? Well, despite the look of the thing, and that awful stench, people wolf it down. So I thought I'd try making one of these supposed masterpieces myself. Had a peek at the book and gave it a go, but, well...
It wasn't as straightforward as you'd hoped. Ivan had the same problem.
Yeah, but this is my blimmin' kitchen, and I will not be outdone. So if you don't want to be seen as playing favourites, I suggest you lend me a hand.
I've never been one to play favourites, Molly. And I would be only too happy to lend you a hand. So, what's on the menu this time?
A fried mortress of skyworm. That's one heck of a name, innit? Recipe seemed easy enough to an old hand like myself. Thought I'd followed it to a T. Only, turns out skyworm livers and drake's mint are not what I thought they were. At least I hope they're not, given the rancid mess they made.
Ivan said the recipes in the culinary pilgrimage date back centuries. Who's to say the ingredients even exist anymore?
Wow. That's a question for a scholar, wouldn't you say? Perhaps you know of one? Kindly old fella who haunts the shelves, maybe?
Fine. I'll go and speak to Harpocrates. Perhaps he'll know something. And if he does, I'll see if I can find your ingredients for you.
You do that. Lest we forget, you've got a reputation to uphold.
You all right?
Something troubling you?
No more than usual. It's just... Etta's baby will be coming soon, and I wanted to make something for it.
I'm sure she'd like that.
Back in the north, families would always make gifts when a bairn was on the way. Yeah, let the little tykes know they were welcome in their new homes, like.
So, what's the problem?
The problem is that Ed is due any day now, and I don't know if I'll be ready in time.
Is there anything I can do to help?
You know, there just might be.
All right then. What exactly are we making?
A good luck charm. But not just any good luck charm.
Not just any.
No. One made from the feather of a silver chocobo. There's nowt luckier in all the realm, or so we used to say back home anyway. Thing is, they're hard to come by. Had Otto and Karen check with their suppliers, but nothing. I'd try and track one down myself, only...
Only the big day is fast approaching. And that's all you need, a feather.
That or the bird whose horse it's attached to, aye. I was gonna start by asking around with traveling traders plying the northern borders.
Well, there's no shortage of those passing through Martha's. I think I might make that my first port of call. I'll let you know if I find anything.
You're a good friend, Clive. I won't forget this.
Lawsman Harpocrates. I've come to pick your brain if you don't mind. It's about the book you lent Ivan.
Ah, Valisthea, A Culinary Pilgrimage, a classic. One of my favorites, in fact. The young man did a wonderful job with the Chance's stew. I do hope we shall be able to sample more such marvels in due course.
That's actually why I'm here. I don't suppose you know where I might find skyworm livers and drake's mint.
Ah, so the fabled Sandbrequois delicacy is next on the menu. Delightful. The descriptions of fried mortress never fail to make my mouth water. Now, skyworm is a somewhat antiquated name for the wyvern, their ground livers being the paste from which the mortress is made.
Dragon livers. How very Sandbrequois.
One would have thought the disciples of Bahamut would have a touch more reverence for their icon's brethren, but apparently not. I believe the specific dragon the recipe demands is the blueback wyvern, said to be the very color of the sea beside which it resides.
So we know where to look for our liver. But what about the drake's mint?
Saint's bonnet in contemporary parlance, a herb which grows along the North Reach coast. I gather that one can locate the cheerful yellow flowers by their heady scent alone, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding them. I may add that people once believed game was best served with the flora that sustained it in life, in which regard fried mortress of skyworm is undoubtedly a typical dish of the time.
Meaning that if I find one, I find the other. To Northreach, then.
Best of luck, Clive. And do save me a bite once the dish is complete.
Let's hope one of the merchants here has what Gav needs. Excuse me. I'm looking for something.
Oh, well, then I'm your man.
A silver chocobo feather.
Oh, or maybe not. Though you're not the first to mention the bird around here. There was a man stopped by the rest not long ago claiming he was attacked by a silver chocobo near some guide hovel not far from Eastpool. Most took him for a braggart and a liar, but who knows? Perhaps there was some truth to his tale.
We'll see. Thank you.
I'm all for making this town welcoming.
What are you after? Thanks very much. There you go. That all, is it?
Just because the heavens have gone to rack-a-roo.
I've got greens of all shapes and sizes.
How do, traveller? You've the look of a man who could do with a new whetstone. Or perhaps a bawdy etching of the Vicerine.
Maybe another time. I'm looking for a silver chocobo feather.
If that's the case, rumours are all you're likely to find. No one has seen a silver chocobo for years. Word is they were all hunted for their feathers. Some northern nonsense about bringing good luck. Didn't bring them much, nor their bows. If any are still out there, I reckon they'll be doing their damnedest not to be discovered.
You're probably right. Thank you anyway.
I expect you heard what happened to the noble quarter. The ether just started pouring from the walls. We were lucky it didn't catch us in our bunks, or we'd have all turned. Where next for the Guardians, then? We were driven from Rosalith, then from the Lazarus. Probably be the rest next.
Ah, Clive. Just the man I was hoping to see.
Oh? And why is that?
You remember how some of Sir Wade's guardians took up residence here after the Akashic attacked? Well, now the rest have come to join him. Seems their barracks in the Lazarus have been lost to an ether flood. Now, I don't mind having a few more brave boys around to keep them animals at bay. I ain't daft after all. But we ain't got nowhere for 'em to bed down. Poor buggers are having to make do with haylofts and chocobo pens. I'd build 'em a new barracks here if I could. But where would I put 'em? There just ain't enough room up here on the rock. Which leaves us in a bit of a pickle. The people we're counting on to keep us safe are living like beggars.
I see.
And it isn't just that lot. There's bears to think about too. There's been more and more of them turning up lately, coming from all over looking for safe haven. But there's only so many we can shelter with the room we've got. We can't keep cramming more and more people into less and less space. What we need is a new home for our new arrivals. And that's what I was hoping you might help me with. If it ain't too much of a burden, of course.
It's no burden.
Thank you, Clive.
So, where were you thinking of making this new home?
Well, I reckon we could do a lot worse than Eastpool.
Eastpool. It's been a long time since I thought about that place.
It was a tragedy, what happened. And if any of us could have done anything to stop it, we would have. But what's done is done. And those who lived there wouldn't have wanted the village they loved to be left in ruins.
I suppose you're right.
The blight might be pressing in, but I reckon it's got a good few years left in it yet. There's just one problem. A band of cutthroats have made it their den, and they don't seem like they'll be moving on in a hurry. Nasty bastards they are too. I've lost some good men to their raids. Would have sent someone to clear 'em out sooner if my boys didn't already have their hands full fending off the Akashic. But now we've got a few more Guardians of the Flame to call on. I reckon it's time we made our move. What do you say? Fancy leading a raiding party?
I do. Eastpool was once home to people I loved. I won't have bandits sully those memories. I'll gladly drive them out of there.
And I know the men will gladly follow you. I've already shared a few thoughts with Sir Wade about how we might be able to win the place back. And I dare say he's got some ideas of his own too. Why don't you go and talk to him?
Of course.
Reckon Eastpool would make a nice little home for a few bearers and guardians with a mind to make a go of it. Once those blasted bandits have been sent packing, that is.
All right, Sir Wade. Let's hear your plan. Sir Wade, It's good to see you well.
And you, Lord Rossfield. And you.
I spoke with Martha. She tells me you have plans to free Eastpool and make it your own.
That's right, though it was mostly her idea. I rather fear my men have been treading on her toes somewhat since joining us, not to mention each other's. And then there are the bearers, men and women who found the courage to flee their masters and sought refuge here. We need somewhere to settle them, and I can think of worse places than Eastpool.
As can I. Which is why I agreed to help you win it back.
That's very kind of you. I'd be most grateful if you would. With you beside us, we shall soon send that rabble of rogues running for the hills.
So, what can you tell me?
That thankfully there aren't too many of them. Fewer than a dozen at our last count. And rather less, thankfully. The road that leads there will more than likely still be crawling with Akashic. A small force would suffice to clear the village, but if the Akashic were to follow them in, that force could end up trapped between a rock and a very hard place indeed.
I'll head into Eastpool and deal with the bandits. You and the Guardians can stay outside the village and fend off any Akashic who come too close. Make sure I'm not taken unawares.
I can't ask you to bear all that risk yourself, my lord.
The Akashic are the bigger risk. I can handle a few bandits.
Well, if you're sure, I shall summon my men at once.
Shall I wait for you here?
No need, my lord. You go on ahead. We'll be with you before long.
All right. I'll meet you at Eastpool then.
We shall see you there. And may victory await our coming.
Inn's full.
Look, Daddy. Shining so brightly.
Did you hear that Martha's been turning travellers away?
Can I help you with summit?
You wouldn't happen to sell silver chocobo feathers, would you?
I deal in fruit, not fancies. But if it's fancies you're after, I suggest you try Rhiannon's ride.
Was a silver chocobo seen there?
Oh, yes. If you believe the ravings of a madman.
It wouldn't be the first time. A silver chocobo sighted in the hills near Rhiannon's ride. It sounds almost too good to be true. But since I'm already here... Run like the wind.
Can hardly make it.
Someone's brave. Tracks. We're not left by bandits for a change. More tracks. And these look fresh. A chocobo was here. And recently. Perhaps it still is. I don't hear anything. damned. It's all right. I'm not going to hurt you. Just borrowing a feather for my friend. Thank you. Let's get this back to Gareth before they change their minds.
You can just walk in here.
That's the end of that, then. Or maybe not. What's that thing doing here? Doesn't matter. It goes to... Any more surprises? I'll take that as a no.
Bravo. A magnificent display, my lord.
You were watching. I thought you were keeping an eye out for a Kashik.
We were. Put down more than a few on the road, then arrived just in time to see you slay that... whatever it was.
Let's hope it was the last of its kind. Though I expect you and the Guardians will be up to the challenge should another appear.
I would hope so, my lord.
Your men will be bringing the bearers who'll be living here, I assume. It might be best to send word for them to come right away, before any other unsavory characters move in.
Of course. I'll send orders for them to depart immediately. Leave it with me, my lord.
and without masters.
No. We're the masters now. Our lives are our own at last.
That's all of them, and not a single Akashek in sight. Now to begin the important work of rebuilding the place. It won't be easy, especially not after 5 years of beasts and blackguards having their wicked way with the place. The masonry might still be sturdy enough, but half the beams are rotted. Those that weren't lost in the fire or burned by the bandits, that is. It'll take a bit of elbow grease, but we'll see Eastpool rise again. Just you wait.
So wait. Lady Hannah is buried here. If you don't mind, I'd like Oscar to join the rebuilding efforts. He should be a part of this.
Of course. I couldn't agree more.
I'll let Martha know that everyone arrived safely. If you need anything more, you have only to send a Stolas.
And we will, my lord. Safe travels.
Eastpool is in safe hands. Time to go and tell Martha the good news.
There you are. All went well then. Sir Wade told me you got rid of the bandits while his lot kept an eye out. Nicely done. And what's all this about some shape-shifting nightmare showing up? On second thoughts, don't tell me. It'll only give me nightmares of me own. What matters is you did it. And now we can build our new village.
I suppose it will be. What will you call it?
What else? Eastpool. Sir Wade said it best. There's plenty bad happened to that place, but that don't undo the good that happened there. No need to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Did Wade say that?
Well, something along those lines. Anyway, the poor souls might have made it to Eastpool, but their work ain't done yet. So the way I see it, neither is mine. If it's food or lumber or strong backs they need, the rest is ready to provide it.
Thank you, Martha.
No, thank you. You didn't have to help us.
I wanted to.
Ah, Clive, I was just about to send for you. I'd like you to take something to Sir Wade up in Eastpool. Seeds for planting. Thought it was about time they started growing their own food. I'll keep providing them with whatever they need in the meantime, of course. But if Eastpool's going to survive, it's got to be able to fend for itself. As have those poor bearers. They've lived their whole lives in servitude, but now they're their own masters. Small wonder they ain't got the foggiest how to provide for themselves. So it's up to us to teach them. And if you're wondering why you, well, the Wagoneers taking supplies up that way have been coming back with more and more reports of Akashik around the village of late. Sir Wade's putting a brave face on it, but I think even he's starting to worry. And if he's likely to share those concerns with anyone, it's you.
All right.
Thanks. Wouldn't ask if I didn't have to. There. That should be enough to keep him in Gazal Greens for a few years at least.
Gazal Greens?
Not the most mouth-watering crop, I'll admit. But they're hardy, they grow fast, and they fill a hole. Better that than something that'll wither away at first frost. And chocobos love 'em too, which is no small thing. When I say all of us need to pull together to get Eastpool back on its feet, I mean all of us. They ain't exactly succulent, but cook 'em right and they're just about bearable.
I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, Sir Wade'll know what to do with them. And if he don't, well, I'll go up there and show him myself.
I'm sure you will.
Get them Gazal green seeds up to Sir Wade in Eastpool, would you?
And while you're there, ask him what the situation is with the Akashic over that way. He might actually tell you the truth.
Ah, Lord Rossfield. What brings you to Eastpool?
A delivery from Martha.
These are Gazal green seeds. Martha's keen to cut the apron strings, then, is she? I jest, of course. You see, I had thought we might be able to revive the old wheat fields, but they'd long since gone to seed. Only without the seeds.
Martha was hoping you might be able to show the bearers how to plant and tend these, so that they'll be able to fend for themselves.
That's not a bad idea. These bearers had only recently escaped their bonds before we brought them here. They know little of freedom, of providing for themselves and their loved ones. Unless we teach them how to live like free men, I fear that all we have achieved in bringing them here is to exchange one master for another. Not that myself and the Guardians have been the best example to them so far, subsisting almost entirely on Martha's charity as we do. It's about time we all started to provide for ourselves, bearers and Guardians alike. Unfortunately, we've been a little too busy of late to focus on much besides bolstering our defenses. There have been alarming reports of...
The Horde is closing in. They're coming, Sir Wade, all of them.
Damn it all, I thought we'd have more time. Gather the men in the square. Send to the rest for reinforcements.
Yes, Sir Wade.
The Horde.
Akashic, a veritable legion of them. They've been seen prowling around the northern reaches for a while now. We don't have the numbers to hold back a swarm that size. I had hoped to build a perimeter wall so that myself and the Guardians might be able to defend the village, but...
Now you're out of time.
Precisely. If reinforcements from the rest arrive before they do, we may just scrape through, but I fear that's rather an enormous if.
What if you could call on reinforcements from Eastpool?
You mean the bearers? We brought them here so they might live, not die, fighting for their lives.
So wait. You said you lacked men to defend the village. Are the bearers not men? Do they not wish to see Eastpool saved? Though they may not be trained soldiers like your Guardians. What help they are able to offer could still prove the difference between victory and defeat.
You're right, my lord. I will appeal to them. My friends, I humbly beg your aid. We Guardians are few and our enemies many. But I swear we can defeat them with you at our side.
You would send us to the slaughter, to serve as bait for those fiends so that you and your men might be spared. And to think we trusted you. Say what you will, a home is not worth dying for.
But it is worth fighting for. Sir Wade fights to give you lot a chance. Just like I do. Just like Sid does. We all wanted to give you a home where you could be free. And you got one, didn't you? This place, Eastpool. This is your village. Your home. you don't fight to protect what's yours, you'll lose it. You know I'm right. This world wants to take everything from you. Everything. Your homes, your freedom, your very lives. So then, are you going to stand by and let that happen to you? Are you going to accept fate like good little Bran did and die, having never stood up for yourselves? Or will you fight like free men and women?
What are you doing?
All right. Give me a sword. I never dreamt I'd have a home of my own. And now that I have, I don't want to lose it. I will protect what's mine, or die trying.
We all will. Free men and women, fighting together. For Eastpool!
For Eastpool!
Thank you, Martha.
Don't mention it. Just promise me one thing. That you'll show them how freeborn fight.
Gladly.
Well, if it was numbers you were lacking, you certainly won't be now.
Thanks to you.
Me? Oh, I just love the sound of my own voice.
Lord Rossfield, my lady, we're ready.
So what's the plan of action?
We'll divide our forces into several small detachments, each made up of guardians, bearers, and guards from the rest. These will position themselves at strategic points around the village. Upon engaging with the Akashic, each detachment will keep the creatures occupied as best they can, steadily retreating all the while.
You're going to lure them into the village?
I am. We will have neither the time nor the resources to treat the wounded, so injuries must be avoided at all costs. Instead, we will focus purely on defense at first. By coordinating our withdrawal through the use of messengers drawn from among the bearers, we will aim to have the swarm converge at a point of our choosing. With luck, that point will be the village square, the perfect place for our most able warriors to surround them and fall upon them, and for you and I to finish them off.
A sound plan, but one that'll require a leader with a cool head and strong nerves to coordinate the retreat. I'd say you have both in abundance, Sir Wade, but you'll be needed. Please, leave the last of the fighting to me.
Ha! And let you have all the glory.
Sir Wade! They're here!
Then you know what you must do. We work together, everyone playing their part, each shielding the other that no man might fall, that Eastpool might live on. For Rosaria!
For Rosaria!
We've no time to argue, my lord. I'll do as you ask.
And I will do as you ask.
Suppose we'd better do our bit too then, eh?
Right you are, Martha.
The calm before the storm. And here it comes. I will not let this village fall. Looks like that's the last of them.
Lord Rossfield! Change of plan!
What is it?
Owl from the rest. An Akashic Curl's been sighted on Rhiannon's ride and is headed in their direction.
Well, the better half of her guard is here. So wait, how many Akashic remain in East Pool?
Hard to say. My men are still facing some resistance, but I think the worst is behind us. I could order a detachment or two to fall back and...
No. Let them finish the job. You stay here too, Sir Wade. Your men need you. I'll go after the Curl. Join me only when East Pool is won.
If you're sure, my lord. May the Founder protect you.
Come to tell me an Akashic Curl's heading towards the rest? Get yourself down there.
The Curl was sighted on Rhiannon's ride back towards...
Fly, Ambrosia! right. Back to Eastpool.
Lord Rossfield, the Curl, is it?
It's dead.
Thank the Founder for that. And for you, my lord. We were able to eradicate the rest of the Horde. I have guardians posted around the village to keep watch for further attacks, but all seems quiet for now. I hesitate to say it, but I think it might be over.
I think it might.
We did it. We saved Eastpool. Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
No, Sir Wade. It's us who should be thanking you. You brought us together. Showed us what it means to fight for what you hold dear.
We never had nothing to call our own before. We didn't know what it meant to protect it, but now we do. We really do.
Forgive us, Sir Wade. You and your people saved us, and still we doubted you. But there's no doubt in my mind anymore. We're free men now, so we have to start acting like it. We have to fight to protect what's ours, to protect Eastpool.
And we shall. We all shall. Together. This is our home. And if anyone or anything tries to take it away,
they'll have us to answer to.
Come on then. Let's get to work.
This village isn't going to rebuild itself.
They're not slaves anymore.
No. They're Rosarians. Your father took pity on the bearer's plight, and I believe if he was still with us today, this is what he would have wanted.
I believe you might be right.
I shall remain here, my lord, and do what I can to help rebuild the village. After all, this is my home now too, and I could hardly call myself an Eastpoolian if I didn't pull my weight.
I think you'll find it's Eastpudlian, Sir Wade. But you should be proud all the same. I'll have to pull my weight too. Can't have the rest getting outclassed. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back.
Can we continue to count on your support, Martha?
Of course, and I'll be counting on yours too. Us Rosarians have got to stick together, haven't we?
Indeed we have.
And Clive, come by the Golden Stables when you get the chance. I ain't paid you for delivering them seeds yet.
All right. I will.
Lord Rossfield, do you remember our very first mission together? Clearing the goblins from the Stillwind marshes?
How could I forget?
There's one sight that I shall never forget. You, facing off against that giant Morble. Not a trace of fear on your face. Since that day, there have been more than a few times when I felt like giving up. When the odds seemed so stacked in the enemy's favor, I thought I may as well just lay down my sword and surrender. But every time I would think back to the look in your eyes that day and remember what it means to be a shield. Know that whatever trials Eastpool may face, I shall never lose courage. Thanks to you.
So Wade, you have always been a true shield. I know that Eastpool, and indeed all of Rosaria, will be safe in your hands.
Thank you, my lord. I know the rest of the world will be safe in yours.
I'll do my best. When did you get so big?
The hero returns. It's lucky you came by when you did, eh? Not only did my seeds get delivered, but you went and saved Eastpool and all.
I just did what I could.
And it's only right that you get rewarded for it. Take it before I change my mind.
Thank you, Martha.
So, Eastpool's finally back on its feet again. And a home to free bearers. Who'd have thought we'd see the day, eh?
Well, it was your idea.
I know that, but I never stopped to think what it would mean. Bearers in charge of themselves, thinking for themselves, working for themselves. Like your hideaway, but not even hidden away. Though I suppose the rest ain't much different nowadays. You know, bearers living free like that reminds me of when I first met Sid. Loath as I am to recall that particular day.
I take it you didn't always see eye to eye. What happened?
Well, if you really want to know, I started doing what I do long before I met Sid. In fact, that's how I met him. Or at least how he came to meet me. He showed up at the stables one day, asking questions about who'd been buying up bearers. Founder knows what he thought I was doing with them. Running a hunt, poking around in their innards. Something awful, anyway. Me, I thought he was a new constable. Thought the game was up. But somehow we both managed to work out what each other was about. And before I knew it, the cheeky arse was rattling on at me about how I was doing it all wrong. After all my hard work. Told me I was giving them relief, but not freedom. That my bearers were still dying as slaves. Got right under my skin, it did. Told him if he didn't like it, he could bugger off and report me to the garrison. And do you know what he did? He smiled. And then he laughed. And then I did the same. We made a pact that day. That whenever one of us was in need, the other would always be there for him.
And you were?
Well, we both wanted the same thing. To make life better for bearers. Just like your dad. Do you know I was born right around the time Elwyn became Archduke? Growing up, I saw how he tried to change things. He certainly didn't lack for ambition, that one.
Indeed. But the loftier one's ambitions, the harder they are to achieve. Which is why those of us who follow in their footsteps need to finish what people like Sid and my father started.
Suppose you're right, aye. And if we don't manage it, there's always them who come after us. Good thing we've got a few half-decent sorts waiting in the wings, eh? It's almost enough to give you a little bit of hope.
Just a little.
Anyway, enough nattering. Better get back to work. Let's see about making everyone some dinner, shall we? The least the folks who saved Eastpool deserve is a hot meal. And you and me ain't gonna save the world on an empty stomach neither.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
High Cardinal. The Dominion's all but done for.
Was that shouting I heard from the barracks?
Do you think he was the only one who survived?
Well, what do you think?
Come on. Fly, Ambrosia. Hippocrates said I should be able to find what I'm looking for somewhere nearby. Bright blue dragons and bright yellow flowers. Should be easy enough to spot. This must be our wyvern. Right. Let's get this over with. That's the wyvern's liver. Now I just need to find the herbs. Bright yellow with a heady scent. I think that's everything Molly needs to resurrect her recipe. Better head back. Faster! That'll do, girl. here. Greetings, Your Majesty.
It's over!
Your reign is over. Now to collect the ash. I should... This looks like the stuff. Let's see if there's any more. That should do it. If a wine needs more than this, he can fetch it himself.
It was no trouble at all.
Still, I appreciate it. Clive, you're back. How'd you get on? Any luck?
Any luck, you say?
Crystal's crack. Is this what I think it is? Where in the hell did you find it?
It's a long story.
Right there on the road to Eastpool. Who'd have thought it?
Everything up there's been abandoned for years. The empty cabin made for the perfect shelter. Though I fear my presence may have forced the poor creatures to look elsewhere.
Don't blame yourself, Clive. The Blight's right on Eastpool's doorstep. They'd have had to move on before long, even if you hadn't have turned up. They'll find a new home. Trust me. After all, That's what us endangered animals do. Anyway, what matters is, you managed to nick us one of their quills before they could run off. And now all that's left is to fix it to the carving.
I didn't know you could carve.
Reckon there's a lot you don't know about me. Like the fact I'm as good with a whittling knife as I am with a sword. And that bone Ember gave me's a dream to work with. What did you say it was from again? An Avis?
But it weren't your Avis, Sid. I slew one of my own at last.
So all those long nights in the pit finally bore fruit. I'm proud of you, Ember.
Don't speak too soon. I ain't done my trial yet.
There we go. What do you think?
I think if you ever hang up your scouting cap, you'll be able to make an honest living.
Oh, will I? I should go and see if Ed is awake.
Give it my best.
You can give it to yourself. Come on.
Please, your grace, stay strong. Ah, me lords.
How are you feeling?
Well, thank you. Is something wrong?
Wrong? No, nothing like that. What it is,
Go on, please. It's beautiful. Did you make it?
We did. Aye. It's from all of us here at the Hideaway. Your new family, like. It's a good luck charm. We may come up north when a band's on the way. I mean a baby. To let him know that they're part of the family too. Oh, I hope you like it.
I don't know what to say. I thank you, my lords, for everything.
If there's anything you need, just let us know.
I will.
Clive, fancy a swift off? I'm thirsty.
I could be convinced. Don't you think you've had enough?
No, we're celebrating. I'm gonna be a father.
I think Edda might have something to say about that.
You know what I mean. Bit of light in these dark times. Wasn't long after me 10th name day. My mum told us she was with child again. I was over the fucking moon. I was looking forward to having a little one to lord it over. What with me being the runt of the litter. Thought I'd finally have a chance to prove to the world that I could be a big brother. Imperials came the day she went into labour. Had myself a baby sister. And then I didn't. My whole family gone in a blink. while I hid in the cellar like the spineless little arsehole I was. Great brother I turned out to be. I'll never be a leader. And I'll never be a hero. I'm just a daft little dog who comes running when his master calls. I'll never be like you, or Sid, or Jill, or even Torgal.
Have you finished?
Maybe.
Do you know why you're our best scout?
Yeah.
Because you don't need anyone to hold your hand. Without your resourcefulness, your courage, your determination, I don't know where we'd be. Maybe hanging off a cliff like,
That was only the once.
Exactly. You learned from it. And here you are after Founder knows how many missions, stronger for everyone. And let's not forget Rosalith. Who was it who freed me from the dungeon? Who was it who ran to Jill's rescue?
That would be me.
Because you're our brother, Gav. My brother.
Your brother.
Which means that when the time comes,
I get your room. And your sword. I may have had one too many.
you may have had 10 too many.
I said I was thirsty. Better get back to work anyway, after I walk this off. Clive?
What is it?
Thanks for, you know.
I know.
One of these days. One of these days, I swear it's gonna be me who drinks you under the table.
If by under the table you mean retching on my boots half the night, I reckon one of those days was yesterday.
Ha ha, you think you're so funny. But just wait till we crack open the bottle I left in your chambers. That stuff's strong enough to burn the horns off a behemoth.
Sounds like I'll be needing some new boots.
Do you think they'll come back?
So, did you have that word with Tomes then?
I did, and he was as helpful as ever. He told me exactly where to look, in fact.
And what precisely will I be cooking up? Or is it better not to know?
Blueback wyvern liver. And, a herb known as Saint's Bonnet.
Ah, wyvern livers, was it? Well, at least it weren't actual worms, I suppose. Now then, you stay right where you are. I've got some cooking to do. Let's hope these grand old chefs of yore knew what they were on about. And here we have it. Fried mortress of skyworm. Ivan's offered to make sure it's fit for consumption. Well, I say offered. He as good as begged.
And rightly so. Is there any higher honor than partaking in a slice of culinary history?
So, not fit for consumption then?